check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hi folks. Now, in my other video, I basically shared my unboxing of the first ever 3D printer that I've purchased or that I've owned. And it was a surreal experience actually, because it was for me opening the door to my creative health. And you know, some people can be creative for creative sake, and others are creative for productivity sake. And I think I would like to be creative for some form of productivity for myself, and that was part of the reason why I decided to get into having to do 3D printing myself. Now it's a hobby of mine to do design. It's not as though I'm a great designer. I'm just a hobbyist designer. I used to love art when I was a kid, and essentially I'm trying to take that one step further, to do things for myself. So every now and then I need to scout on the internet or go to a particular web store to buy accessories for either my bike, the car, or perhaps even for use at home. The whole idea of the revolution in industrialization is to bring, you know, manufacturing closer to the individual, and I think I would like to see how that is working out, because a lot of people are actually becoming more productive, you know, trying to essentially build stuff on their own and then turn them into commercial products. I'm not interested in the commercialization part. I'm more passionate about being able to create nifty gadgets or nifty tools that I can essentially use myself, you know, a sense of a cool factor sometimes, rather than having to use patch works by sellotaping, maybe by using glue to stick stuff together. Rather, you know, go through the process of essentially designing objects, things, and having them, you know, be used in a way as intended. And that's part of the reason that I decided, you know, to embrace this path, this journey. Again, I think 3D design and 3D object creation actually is quite satisfying, I think. I don't know, we might need to take a poll on that and see. But yeah, so, well, today I would like to, or having unboxed the 3D printer and tried my first print the same night. Well, the process of putting the printer together itself wasn't that difficult. Again, this is the ecubmker 4-in-1 toy DIY printer, and it's a really well thought through 3D printer, I must say. Again, this is my first 3D printer, so it is subjective, this view. But I like it for the fact that if you look at other 3D printers, particularly in the open source space, the learning cycle to put the printer together, to first of all to buy the parts, make sure the parts are right, the parts arrive, and then going through the process of essentially putting it together can take some time. And I like to, for my first experience with 3D printing, cut through that chase. But I will certainly want to experience the idea of actually putting the printer together myself. And so I'm targeting the Voron 2.4 as potentially a target for maybe for the next planning, maybe in the next 3 to 6 months. I should be able to build a Voron, but again, that depends on how well I embrace this hobby. I know that I've purchased a prusa MK3, and that I think will essentially help in the area of wanting to create things, print things without having the headache of worrying about, all the other little pieces around it. And I'll certainly walk through what I experienced. And the reason I'm buying the prusa is just, again, to ensure that I've got a reliable, solid printer, 3D printer, that I can fall back on at any point in time. And then the second reason is also the fact that it's got a bigger bed than the first version of the ecubmker 4-in-1. That version, this printer that I have unboxed already, and you can basically take a look at it in my video library, is really for me to get a handle on 3D printing. So the print area is not really that large, but it gives me the opportunity to work with scale and be able to maybe test or prototype, whether it's accessories that I'm trying to build, or perhaps designs that I'd like to realize in 3D form. So the ecubmker has a place certainly as the first 3D printer that I've purchased, and I think that it will definitely be pretty much a handy printer that I could easily keep within my working space, and enjoy the thrill of watching 3D printing happen sometimes, especially when you watch the time lapse. Now, for my first experience, it wasn't really exciting. It was traumatic, I must say. First, there was a problem with trying to get the print to stick on the bed. Now, this is a no-brainer. Everyone will tell you in the 3D printing world that that's the foundational thing that you must get right in order to have a successful 3D print. Okay, so from a high level overview, that's essentially an important part. Your leveling, the space between the print head and then of course the print bed, and then most importantly, the ability to ensure that the first print actually sticks to the plate. So that's important because essentially you're trying to build a 3D object, and that 3D object would basically have some thickness to it, and therefore that thickness is achieved by layers of print. And what basically happened was the first print was not sticking on the bed because, again, the bed was pretty much from the factory. I hadn't put any sort of material on it that actually allows you, or that allows the filament to stick to the bed. So I went through a couple of iterations with regards to the bed. That was the first bed. Pretty much it didn't stick, and so I canceled the print. And then the second one basically was the same thing. The printer was basically doing its job, melting and then of course applying the filament, but the filament was basically not sticking to the bed, and that created a a situation where this piece, which was supposed to be the foundation, would be shifting, and once it starts shifting, your 3D printing is basically AWOL. So yeah, I went through a couple of rounds doing that, and then eventually on the third try, I got myself. I remembered I had some glue, and this is normal glue. Okay, so what I did was apply this on the print plate, and by applying it on the print plate, it created some sort of sticky area that would enable the print at least to get off with a good start. But it's not exactly the right tool to use. It's not exactly the right chemical, or indeed not the right formula to use for a print bed. However, it was handy. And then what basically transpired after that was it worked for the first foundation, and then I saw that it was actually beginning to peel from the print bed, and I thought to myself, gosh, I'm not going to go through this again. So I found some tape, and then I actually had to apply the tape to lock the initial print to the bed, because I wanted to really see the first print come out successfully. Well, I wasn't believing that was going to work, but somewhat, I thought, okay, why not try it? And so I did that, and out came my first multi-color 3D print, and it is really a great joy, to see this. This is basically the combination of the tape, and then of course the dry glue. But the key part to seeing the print come out successfully was a joy. So well, 5 things that I like to sort of prepare you, anyone new, interested, thinking about getting into 3D printing. Just the first initial things that you need to concern yourself about. I thought I would share with you folks. The first one is getting the right printer, and then ensuring that at least you've got a printer that you can assemble and go through the initial rudiment understanding of a 3D print process. The workflow for 3D print essentially starts with, or will start with, getting the file, and then porting that to the printer, and then essentially letting the printer execute, or indeed run that file. So that workflow with the ecubmker ecosystem has been simplified to a great extent. I have not myself gone through the workflow in detail, but I think that workflow is something that any new person that is getting into 3D printing needs to identify. What exactly would be the workflow that is not going to frustrate you. You need a workflow that is simple enough if you're not very technical, or indeed a workflow that gives you the flexibility, as well as creativity that is needed for you to enjoy your 3D printing journey. So first thing, get workflow right. Understand what works for you. I've come to believe that the ecub ecosystem is great for beginners, and I think same of prusa, having seen what the prusa ecosystem can do, but I've not gotten my prusa yet, so wait till I do the unboxing of the prusa, and I will share my views with you. The second thing is the fact that your 3D print success all depends on the preparation of your print bed. Your print bed is a very important part to getting a successful 3D print. So it's important that once you order a printer, once you order a 3D printer, you go through the process of also getting some either some material or the right material, or perhaps off the shelf material that can help to deliver the adhesiveness of the initial print to the bed. I was very eager to get my first 3D print, so I was pretty frantic. I looked everywhere to find a solution to that problem, and luckily I found the glue. That enabled me to satisfy my curiosity the first night, and I'm happy about that. I mean, the print came out not so great, but not so bad either. It is essentially giving me a sense of achievement, and that achievement can boost your morale. And to step forward. One step at a time to move forward with the new hobby that you found. So you've got to find a way to ensure that you can feed that zest in you, in order to ensure that you continue to grow that hobby. So that's the second point. And then there is the third point. Patience is a virtue. Otherwise, you're not gonna get anywhere with this hobby. First try got me this, and then I needed to try again. Perhaps because I've spent money to buy the printer, and I really wanted to ensure that I was getting value from it. So it pushed me to want to try to essentially to get it to work, to get something productive out of it. Okay, but that also depends on patience, because without patience, you cannot be able to learn through the process of getting yourself attuned to something new. Okay, so second try got me nowhere either, but it got me somewhere. At least I was able to get the feel of the first 3D mesh plate based on the PLA material, which was really exciting, because now I understood that in actual sense the printer would always have to create a sort of layer on which to base the model. Okay, that I didn't read from anywhere. And so that experience was a learning experience, but it came from the fact that I didn't just throw my hands up and say, okay, you know what, I've had it, I'm going to bed. And I'm talking about 1 a.m. Saturday morning, still trying to get this guy to work. And then on the third try, I essentially was able to get this, from the printer. And again, just like I was saying with regards to the second step, the actual 3D object is it's a cone. It's not the base. This is basically the add-on that is meant to sort of provide the basis for the rest of the cone itself to stick. Okay, and so that becomes for me a souvenir that I'll hold and cherish for a long time. I know a lot of you will be thinking about, why is he not printing the Benchy? Everybody talks about the Benchy. Well, I will print a Benchy, but first I think I wanted to see how the multicolor capability of the printer works, and whether indeed, I had ordered I had ordered and gotten a working printer. That's the third part. The fourth part is that when ordering a printer, don't just wait for the printer to arrive before you start to research all the little tools that you might need in this hobby of 3D printing. Because if I had really ordered the chemical or the adhesive materials for 3D printing, I wouldn't basically have been frustrated by the initial print. It would have just been a snap of a finger, get my first 3D print out, and that would have been a smooth sale. Now that also needs to be thought about in another context. Now sometimes these already manufactured 3D printers may be stored along with the filament that they send through the package, and they would have been stored for a long time. So perhaps the filament may not exactly be in the top shape or in the best of quality state for you to basically get off the bat with your first print. Basically take that filament, run it through your printer and get something out. So the fourth point really is about doing the research, finding all the refill materials you need, the additional accessories you need, like the glue, the adhesive that you need for the test bed. Do a research on servicing the print head. Do a research for what type of filament your printer supports. It could be PLA. It could be any other type of material, and there are quite a number of them to explore. And of course, PLA is considered the most friendly, or it's considered to be biodegradable. So a lot of enthusiasts would normally push for a PLA first, sort of 3D print. But depending on what you're printing and for what it's going to be used for, sometimes it will be good to explore some other material that can help in that regard. So for that, I think it's a good thing that once you're ordering your printer, you equally consider all the other accessories that you might need, the tools and all that can help you enjoy your print experience. And the fifth point, and that really is one that I think a lot of you perhaps might be good at, or perhaps might want to, rather than be good at it, leverage what's on the internet. You need to get yourself pretty familiar with the chemistry of the materials that you're using for your print. You're basically melting a substance, so you're going to get fumes. Sometimes the fumes might not necessarily be dangerous. Other times there might be a certain level of danger, so the placement of your printer versus the size should be one that you need to really consider. Now, if you're new at 3D printing and your intent is to quickly go ahead and get a huge printer, very sophisticated, that can do anything, that might work for you, but I think you might not get the productivity that you might be looking for with that investment. If you've got people around you that know how to use 3D print and therefore can leverage what your investment is, then of course that makes sense. But if at the end of the day you're buying this for yourself to go through the journey of experiencing, delighting yourself, and essentially feeling a sense of achievement, even as a hobby, I think you need to make sure that you understand, the health implications, and do ensure that you actually have an environment that can enable mitigate those. If it's going to be in a completely enclosed environment, you might need to ensure that at least you are aerating it pretty well, in order to overcome potentially if you're not using a PLA but are using a different type of print subs like carbon fiber materials. So these are my 5 key highlights for a first-time person looking into 3D printing. Of course, these are very high level. You could do your research yourself and get in a bit more detail for each one of those 5. For a printer, what kind of printer works best, will work best, can last long, that has the support behind it, whether it's open source support, community support, whatever it is, you need that. Ensuring that at least you understand the fundamentals of 3D printing, the fact that there is a bed, there's a hot tip, and then there's a filament, and somewhere along the line the chemistry is that you need to have a foundation on which to print, and therefore if you don't have the right sort of material on your test bed, then most likely you're going to have a failed print. So putting in the effort to ensure that at least in acquiring the printer, you equally research into what kind of plate that is. Even for plates that are supposed to be heated, this printer prints on a heated plate. It takes about 7 minutes to heat the plate up to 50 degrees centigrade. I'm not too sure whether the target temperature is enough. It's something I'm going to research more to understand. But essentially, it's a heated plate. The heating was working, but based on the default setting, I wasn't able to achieve an instant success with the print, and therefore that leads me to the third point: patience being a virtue, and ensuring that you patiently iterate in your mind, what you could do, what you have to do, what you need to do, to go through the motions of successfully getting to the end goal for the task or activity you're trying to embark on. In this case, 3D printing. You got my 5 key highlights, with the first 3 that I've repeated again. That's it. Watch out for more videos. Keep an eye out for this channel. Subscribe if you've not subscribed. Like this video, give me some comments that I could use to essentially improve on my 3D printing journey. This is not a special studio that I've got with all the bells and whistles. It's just home, working through my study area, pulling up my iPhone and then doing a random vlog of this particular experience. So thank you very much for stopping by, and hope to see you in the next one.